If you live anywhere near Edmonton, you already know what happened this week. And if you don't, you're about to see just how fast a calm afternoon can turn into a full-blown emergency. This wasn't your average summer thunderstorm. We're talking torrential rain. Hail large enough to dent vehicles, wind gusts strong enough to snap tree branches, and flash flooding that swallowed entire roadways in a matter of minutes. Emergency crews across the region were pushed to their limits, and by the time it was over, we saw stalled cars, stranded drivers, and neighborhoods completely cut off by rising water. Let's break down exactly how this storm unfolded, city by city, street by street.
Stopping now. As soon as it fills up, it's still water.
The west side of Edmonton bore the brunt of the damage. The city's storm drainage system, built to handle a normal summer downpour, simply couldn't process the sheer volume of water coming down. Within minutes, streets that were dry that morning turned into shallow rivers. Cars stalled out in water deeper than their wheel wells, and drivers who thought they could push through found themselves stuck, watching the water climb higher around them. Emergency responders launched rescue operation after rescue operation, pulling people from vehicles that had become traps rather than transportation. If there's one road that came to symbolize this storm, it's White Mud Drive. This major route saw entire sections vanish beneath floodwater. The underpasses, usually a quick way to bypass surface traffic, filled up almost instantly, turning into dangerous choke points. Traffic came to a complete stop as crews scrambled to reach drivers who'd misjudged how deep the water actually was. It's a stark reminder that underpasses and low-lying roadways are some of the most dangerous places to be during flash flooding because water collects there fast and it's nearly impossible to judge depth from behind the wheel. Not far away, the interchange near 170th Street looked less like a highway and more like a flooded field. What are normally busy traffic lanes became wide pools of standing water, some deep enough to fully submerge smaller vehicles. Drivers made the call to abandon their cars altogether rather than risk getting swept up, while firefighters moved carefully through the rising water to reach anyone still trapped inside. Scenes like this are exactly why officials continuously stress never try to drive through flooded roads, no matter how familiar the route seems. Yellowhead Trail, another key route through Edmonton, saw its own significant flooding, disrupting traffic across several sections of the city. Sections of the roadway disappeared underwater, forcing closures that rippled outward, backing up traffic on connecting streets and slowing down emergency vehicles trying to respond to calls elsewhere in the city. When a major artery like this floods, it doesn't just affect that one road, it chokes the whole transportation network around it. It wasn't only the highways. Residential streets across western Edmonton dealt with their own flooding nightmare, overflowing storm drains, water pooling in yards, and in some cases water pushing into homes in low-lying areas. Fallen tree branches, torn loose by the wind, blocked roads and driveways, adding another layer of difficulty for residents just trying to get around their own neighborhoods. For a lot of homeowners, this wasn't just an inconvenience, it meant hours of anxious waiting to see whether the water would recede before it caused real damage. Edmonton wasn't alone in this. St. Albert, just north of the city, got hit with heavy rain, strong winds, and large hail of its own, leading to localized flooding in roads and public spaces. Over in Spruce Grove, rain came down fast enough that water accumulated on streets almost immediately, creating slick, hazardous conditions and raising the risk of accidents for anyone still out driving. Stony Plain dealt with intense rainfall that cut visibility dramatically, forcing drivers to slow to a crawl or find alternate routes just to get home safely.
Warned me it was coming in.
Here's something a lot of people don't realize. The worst of this system actually hit before it ever reached Edmonton. Out in Yellowhead County, residents faced some of the most extreme conditions of the entire event. Massive hail, violent wind gusts, and dangerous storm intensity that put both people and property at serious risk. The ground here was already saturated, which meant that when the rain hit, it had nowhere to go. That set the stage for flooding that overwhelmed the region's stormwater infrastructure and left roads submerged and impassable for hours. By the time the storm system finally moved through, transportation networks across central Alberta were dealing with widespread disruption. Road closures, hazardous driving conditions, and stranded vehicles were reported across multiple communities. Emergency crews stayed on the ground well after the worst of the rain had passed, continuing to monitor flood zones, assist drivers, and work toward reopening roads as conditions allowed. Storms like this are becoming more common and more intense across Alberta and honestly across a lot of North America. The big lesson here isn't just about this one storm. It's about how quickly things can turn dangerous and how important it is to take flood warnings seriously. If you ever come across a flooded road, the safest move is always the same. Turn around, don't drown. It sounds simple, but it saves lives every single year. If this video gave you a better sense of just how serious this storm was, drop a comment and let us know if you were in the area when it hit. Hit that subscribe button if you want to stay updated on severe weather coverage across Alberta and beyond. And don't forget to like this video so more people can see how fast conditions like this can change. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.